Hi, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I am Diana, and this is Real Talk with Dianis. I am super excited. I'm finally back into the zone to do this again. So, super excited. So I hope and let's get everything figured out. But I think it's gonna be a new video every week. I don't know when I'm gonna post it, so I'll let you guys know later. But today we're gonna talk about something that happened to me the past year-ish. That is 10 lessons of two breakups in less than a year. So, I'm gonna have like a year of being single in like literally next week, next month. And I decided that that was like my 4 year relationship. So that was one breakup. And then the last breakup that I had was another guy. And we started dating for like 6 months and then we broke up like a month ago. So literally two breakups in less than a year. So it's been crazy. But I wanted to give you guys some tips, some tricks like I always do and help you with your breakup. If you're wanting to do a breakup or you just like want to know like my lessons and stuff like that, you're more than welcome to stay to the end of this video to see all the lessons that I've learned in the past year-ish. So the first one will be always choosing yourself. I feel like that applied to both of the breakups that I had recently. And it's very important to note that is that the best thing for you right now? Like if staying in that relationship will is the best thing for you right now, or is it leaving? Like, do you feel like at the point that you're just comfortable in the relationship, but you're not really growing as a person, you're just like there? Because I feel like it's important to grow as a person and then grow as a couple. But if you're stuck in that same thing over and over again, it's like getting you to think like that's actually what happened to me. Get you to think like, am I repeating this over and over again? Like I need to learn this lesson and I need to move on to something else that could work. And I'm gonna give you a big parenthesis here, and it's like the fact that you guys both tried many options. And it's not like giving up the first time, like you have a fight or something, and you give up and you're like, okay, yeah, whatever, like bye. But it's more like being there and having a solution there too. But I will continue with that later. So let's pin that. Um, so the question first is choosing yourself. Is it the best thing for you right now to break up with that person or to continue? I feel like that's the first thing. The next thing is this relationship I am in will help me to where I want to be. So is that person like motivating me or inspiring me to be that person that I want to be? And I feel like this is like also a disclosure because some people want just a partner, and it could be a partner in the sense of like it can actually inspire you, and they don't have to have the same goals as you, but they have similar values. So it all depends on what relationship you want. And this is also can look what you want in a partner. What is the thing that you're looking for? Like, do you want emotional support? Do you want something that someone that motivates you every day to do the things that you want to do and stuff like that? So it's really important to understand when you're in a relationship or when you're not in a relationship, understand what you want out of the relationship. Because if you want support, or what do you want out of the relationship? And it's very a little complicated this, but it all depends. Like I can give you what I want in a relationship, but it's totally different for what you want and what your partner wants also out of you guys' relationship. Okay, so it's very important to have these conversations when you're in a relationship in general. Not just starting out, but like when you're like officially in a relationship, I feel like that's a good idea too, just to get you guys know what interactions and what works, what doesn't work, and stuff like that. So that's very important. So that's number two. So what type of support you want in a relationship? I feel like that's super, super key to finding that out internally and then also externally, you know? And then number three, I feel like I talked about it a little bit at number one when it went out. Another point, and is when it gets to a point that are you stuck in your comfort zone? So maybe your partner is your comfort zone, and it's like, oh, I just want to go there and like don't think about anything. And then you just go there to not think about anything, but you actually don't progress on your goals because you're thinking, like, I just want to be with him, that's very comfortable and stuff like that. So it's actually thinking like, yeah, he can support you, he can do whatever, like we talked about in point two, but it's like, is it part of a routine that you have now with yourself and with your partner too, right? Is it something that's an autopilot that you don't even think, you're just like, ah, yeah, we'll just go with him and do whatever. But it's like instead of going out with him, maybe you want to plan, YouTube videos or want to paint, that I normally paint too. So it's kind of like those things that I'm gonna go into another point, but it's kind of like, is your partner now your comfort zone? Are you feeling stuck and going over and over and over again the same thing? And the same questions and the same concerns and the same, it's very easy to get and fall into that I personally been in my 4 year relationship. I feel like we got into a point that it was very comfortable being with him the whole time. That is a good thing. But for me, it's a bad thing because it's more of getting out of I like to get out of the routine. So it's nice to have routines, but like I said, it all depends on what you want out of the relationship. You want something that's very routine, or you want something to like be a little bit comfortable, a little bit, out of the other comfort zone and stuff like that. So it all depends on what you want in a relationship too. That's also very keen disclaimer here too. Um, so is this can be your relationship in your life? Is this too long? This is this is more when you're like a very long relationship. You're like more like a year and a half, 2 years, more than 2 year relationship. It gets to a point that you're just like, monotoning. And it's really important also to talk about this with your partner and saying like, how can we change this and stuff like that. That is also very important to do in general. Also, so number three, feeling just stuck into that same thing over and over again. Like I said, this is more like long-term relationship tips. Um, then number four will be there's three types of time that you and your boyfriend or your partner in general have. And then the question for you guys is what percentage do you currently have with your relationship? So there's three types of time, and this is how I mean by three types of time. There's your solo time of what you do on your time alone. There's your relationship time, when you're in a relationship, like the time together. And then there's your partner's time, okay? The partner that you have his time or her time alone, okay? So there's three types, okay? I categorize them like that because it's just easier. And now that I like after I broke up with him and stuff like that, I feel like I personally didn't have, we had a lot of time together, but there was not enough time for me to be alone and be like comfortable doing, my own activities and doing solo dates and stuff like that. And it's not because of him, and it's because of you specifically. So that's why I wanted you to give you guys the questions like how much time, how like I just like to give numbers. What percentage is like 20% they do solo days, 30% they do their time together, and then the other 20%, I don't know math right now, but you understand like how percentage per the whole time together, like your whole life. Is it just you, is it with your partner, and is it your partner just alone? So I feel like balancing those three, and like I said, talking with your partner if you still have a partner, talking with your partner with those three items and say like, okay, during the week I don't want to see you because I wanted my time alone. and then the weekends we see each other or whatever works for you guys too. And it's also very key to, like I said, work it out and communicate that. And this is another question, if you're in a relationship, just ask that person like, hey, I want more time alone. It doesn't mean I don't love you, but I want more time alone to do this, and this, and be more specific and more intentional with those activities and actually do them. I feel like that's another part that it's very important. Um, that's point number four. Number five will be, is your partner not going to tick all your list? So I know this is going back to childhood, and it's more like, I feel like when we grow up, you see princesses and the perfect guy and, the prince, and everything has to be perfect. And then, like, when you grow up, it's kind of like now you have a kind of like a mental list of the person, the partner that you want, and understanding that. Then the two breakups that I had, understanding the fact that none of any guys or any girls are gonna take all of your list, and everybody has a different list, different things, but it's very important to understand that. And I actually figured that out when I broke up after the second breakup, because I was like, that guy did all of this that I really like, but this other guy did all of the things that he didn't do. And, and comparing both of them and, all the things. But I'm like, none of the guys are gonna take all of the lists. Maybe there's one guy that take like 90% of the list, and that's fine. But understanding that not everybody is perfect, and that's like so Miley Cyrus. So Miley Cyrus, but that is so true. And it's understanding that, and the part of like, you're not you're not everybody's cup of tea, and you're also not perfect, and you also have flaws, and that's okay to have flaws. But understanding that on your perspective, like, I am not perfect, but I can try to be as perfect partner as I can, and the same with your partner. He can be or she can be the best person of what he can or she can do. And that's why it's very good communication in general. But understanding that, I feel like that was one of my lessons that I learned. It was, and like I said before, not like every person is perfect. And when you're like in love with that person, you're like, no, he doesn't have flaws. Everything is perfect. He does everything for me, blah, 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 blah. And then later on, obviously, I had a long-term relationship. It's like there's a like time frame at the beginning of the relationship. You're like just in love with the guy or the girl. And you're just like, everything is perfect, but then you realize the flaws, and they're just like, oh, I really don't like that. Oh, I really don't like that. But then, like I said, instead of doing that, it's understanding like, he has flaws, I have flaws, everybody has flaws, and understanding that like everybody's human and makes mistakes. And why am I saying so Miley Cyrus lyrics here? And just understanding that and accepting that. And I feel like that's another good point in general. Um, the number six is, get to know yourself a little bit more before you start in a relationship. And I feel like that actually happened with the second breakup, because I was like, dating myself, going solo days, having drinks with my friends and everything like that. It was so nice. And then I looked at this guy. I was like, oh, he's a nice guy. I should talk to him, and stuff like that. So we kept dating. And then we went into a relationship like very soon. And it's a bad thing because he didn't know me well and I didn't know him well. So we both got mad very quickly because we didn't had time before actually starting a relationship to know each other. And I feel like that's the point here, is actually getting to know you. And even my 4 year relationship, I didn't fully get to know that person because there's some things that, events that happened and you know a little bit more about that person, but at least get a basic understanding. And when I say basic understanding, I say like not when he's happy, not when he's like excited, and not when he's like, oh, like, yeah, everything is perfect, but actually getting to know that person when he's mad, when he's upset, when he's, tired after work, working 12 hours a day, and then going to see you, and then he's just like grumpy, and, he wants to be with you. And kind of like all of those things that I feel like a relationship, every what's it called? Like in social media, people show like the nice and everything is perfect and blah blah blah, and it's like, yeah, it could be perfect and everything, but it's the fact that you understand that person and how that person reacts to certain situations, and when he is or she is angry, how you can help that other person, your partner, calm down in those situations, and vice versa. Also, you helping your partner and your partner helping you. I feel like that's a good balance. In general, I feel like that was very key to understanding. Like, how can I help you when I'm mad, when you're mad, or how can you help me when I'm mad? You know? And like I said, it's not the well, how can I help you when you're happy? Like nobody wants help when you're happy, you know? It's like when we're like sad and depressed, like those are the moments that your partner needs to know what to do, that you should tell him when you're like in a normal state of situation, and not, when you're upset or when you're sad or when you're like tired and stuff like that. So that's also very important to understand. Um, the other one is, so I'm just reading the notes. And I feel like it's also the fact that is getting like going back to getting to know yourself a little bit more. So when you're in a relationship, you can tell your partner like, hey, if I'm mad, you should do this, 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 and this. And when I am upset, do this and this and this and this. And if your partner doesn't do it, that's another thing, But like I said, having those clear understanding and communicating how, like the bad moments, not the good moments, but the bad moments, it's very, very key. Um, and that's also how you understand if that person is toxic or not. Because if like you're tired and he's tired, one of the two has to like be okay with communicating. If both of you guys are just sad and like depressed and like, I don't want to do anything, but I don't want to see you and you don't want to see me, and I just want to be in my bubble, like that is fine if you're alone, but it's not fine when you're in a relationship. But you like some of the two, like either you or your partner needs to talk. Either of them. But if you both don't talk and both react at the same time and both react in the same way, that's kind of an issue because either one has to, like I said, communicate back, like, okay, give me 5 minutes, let me like cool down, and then I'll talk to you, you know? But like I said, this is all communication, but it's also, like I said, understanding those little things in this person's how person somebody reacts. I feel like that's very key, and not a lot of people actually talk about that it's also very important in a relationship in general. um, okay, that's point number 6. Point number 7 will be if you are single, you're being comfortable being alone and not looking for company somewhere else. Yes. Oh my God. Guilty, guilty, very guilty. I feel like at the very beginning, when you break up with somebody, you obviously miss him or miss her because you already had that routine going back to like point, I don't know who, going back to the routine. And it's like, yeah, you're in the routine, you're doing stuff, and it's like you don't have that morning text, you don't have that night text saying good night, you don't have that phone calls like for 5 hours. those things that are like habits for you are gone. And I feel like those are the habits that you should be not looking for someone to replace those habits so you can just be back to the same normal habits of what you used to do when you had a partner. But it's more the fact that, like, okay, if he's not gonna give me a morning text because I'm literally not with him anymore, I can give myself a morning text and say, like, good morning, Diana. I'm good today. How are you? You know, this sounds super simple and super easy and silly and like stupid, but it's actually works out. And it actually did help me change my mindset in the sense of like, oh, he's not here, I'm so sad. And it's like, it's okay. I'm gonna talk about it in another video, like what to do after a breakup. But it's that change of mindset. It's like he's not here. How can I change it instead of like missing him, actually having that time for myself and caring about myself and prioritizing myself instead of that person that is literally no longer in your life. Yeah. Yeah, you can miss the cuddles, you can miss the kisses, you can make everything, but like I said, I'm gonna give you a whole other video shortly about this. So stay tuned. Stay tuned and subscribe for the next video. It's gonna be this, so don't worry. I got you. So that's number six. Number seven. Oh no, that's number seven, sorry. Number seven. And then number eight will be he or her begging to come back. And this is literally my first experience having this kind of person. And I thought it was very romantic and very like, oh, he wants me in my life, he's the love of my life. And I was just like, this is perfectly a sign of like a red. This could be either a red flag or a green flag, but it all depends on how that person is. For example, if he's just sending you flowers so he can get back to you and be the same person, and he's not going to change anything, that's a red flag. If he's sending you flowers or sending you notes like, here, I'm really sorry, let's change this, and actually having actions towards those mistakes or whatever happened after your breakup, then that could be, it doesn't necessarily is, could be a green flag. And that only could be a green flag if he actually does change. If you see after you talk to him or whatever, if you don't want to talk to him, but my experience, after you talk to him a couple of times and nothing changes and he keeps going back to the same, I'm gonna say the same herida, the same point over and over again, they're just like, he just wants to manipulate me, or he just wants to be like a toxic person. That who wants to be a toxic person, first of all? I don't know. But second of all, like who wants to be around a toxic person? That's, I don't know. Um, but that actually happened to me. So that's what I'm saying. Like begging you to come back could be two things. So it's a very tricky situation. So it all depends. But like I said, could be a green flag, could be a red flag. But I feel like most of the time it's a red flag because if he understands, and I feel like one question that did really help me was that what would you do if you were him? How would you like forgive him or think that he should act for you to think that you're forgiving him? Does that make sense? I'm just gonna repeat it so it's like clear. So for example, you just break up because I don't know, he doesn't wash the dishes. I'm just giving you a random example here. So then he's begging you to come back, but he's keeping, not washing the dishes. Then you're just like, it's not the same. But then if you break up and then he starts washing the dishes without you telling him to wash the dishes, then that's a different story. Because why? Because you have actions. He or she has actions behind it. And it's not only like beautiful flowers and talking that everything is fine and then I will change and blah 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 and like 50 paragraphs of that. But it's more the fact that he's actually taking action without you telling him to take action in a different way for him to know that he should deserve you, not you deserving him. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So I feel like that's a very good point. And like I said, I don't think a lot of people talk about this at all. um, and it's not giving flowers, it's not giving gifts, it's not talking nice, it's actually actions that change. And it's actions for a period of time. So, and my period of time could be different from yours. It could be like, let's give him 2 days and see if he changes. Or let's give him 2 months and see if he changes, you know? But still giving that distance of like, okay, I'm giving you kind of like a trial. That sounds horrible, but it's true. Like a trial and see if he actually changes without you telling him it's a trial. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Like I said, if you have any questions about all the things that I'm saying, just leave it out in the comments down below. I will get back to you shortly. So, yeah, that will be number 8. Then number 9 will be before officially getting together, having enough time to know each other. I feel like I already said that, but the key thing here is the fact that there are good situations that did happen and bad situations that happen. And life is a roller coaster and everybody knows that, okay? So life is good and bad, good and bad, good and bad, and not very like monotone, okay? And I feel like in a relationship, you want to be officially together in a relationship, you should have enough. I would say enough, but my enough could be like three enoughs, and your enough can be like five or 10 or 20. It all depends. Like I said, what you want in a relationship and how you see that person with you too. Um, so good moments could be like he graduated, he got a new promotion, he moved to another apartment, all the good things, and you help me with him and everything like that. And then there's the bad moments like he got a crash, he got into an accident, somebody in his family died. But, I'm giving you very lows, but it's for you to understand that this cannot happen I mean, could could happen in a week, but just giving that enough time. So I feel like 6 months could be good enough time. But like I said, it all depends of like those highs and those lows and how you guys interacted and communicated with each other. And I feel like it all ties up of what I've been saying this whole time. It's good communication, but it's also, like I said, good highs, but also good lows. And I feel like I said at the beginning, I said in this video a couple times, it's not just the happy moments, but it's actually understanding the bad moments and saying like, okay, this happened, how can we fix this? And not you just saying that to him or to her all the time, but that person also saying that to you. It's kind of like a team. Like I'm correcting you, but you're also correcting me. And it's kind of like that back and forth. If it's just one way, that's not working. Okay. So that is that. Then this could also mean, I'm just giving you examples here with the goods and the bad moments. And then this could be drinking, going out with friends, meeting their family, if you're like in that point of the relationship. Um, Meeting your coworkers when you're angry, when you're sad, when you're frustrated. And just a super disclaimer here, and it's not create these events but let life create those events and not like force them. Like, I want him to be angry so I know how he can be angry. Like, don't go there. Like, he will be angry at some point. I don't know when point, but he will be angry. And then you will know how he is when he's angry. And then you will discuss and everything like that. So it's kind of like that back and forth. And I feel like that's a good part in a relationship if you're like back and forth. You made a mistake, but he made a mistake, and then you're correcting each other. It goes like dun dun dun. It's not just like, and he is perfect, he hasn't done anything bad, like he's like, whatever. And you don't do the same. I'm not saying that he or she is a bad person, but I'm saying both. It's both ways, both interactions, both people. Okay. And then that'll be 8. Oh no, that'll be 9. That'll be 9, sorry. Really reading my notes. And then number 10. Oh, number 10 is hard, but I will let you know. It's so true. I'm gonna just say, because I don't know how to introduce this kind of concept. So, how many times is sorry okay? How many times? You can forgive him or her 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, maybe 4 times, maybe 6 times, maybe 7 times. And I'm saying this as everybody makes mistakes. Oh my God, what I don't like fire service. But it's the fact of he or she not changing how or she reacted or what he or she did during that mistake. For example, if he cheated on you, meaning like he kissed another girl or whatever, are you gonna let that go 1 time? Maybe. I don't know. That could be me, that could be you. I don't know. But are you doing that? He does that, for example, this month. In 6 a year, then he does it again. And then he does it again. And then he does it again. Like, those are the types of situations that I'm talking about, that how many times sorry is enough. Not the fact that you say sorry, that it's totally fine, and like I said, everybody makes mistakes, and it's fine to be sorry and reconciliate and everything. But the fact of saying sorry and be like, yeah, I can just be the same person again tomorrow. And it's like, mm, how are you going to tolerate that? And what's your level of tolerating those types of situations? I'm talking about big situations. I'm not talking about like he didn't wash the dishes. Like it can even be washing the dishes. It could be literally just like, I really want him to wash the dishes, and he hasn't washed the dishes in over like 12 months. And I sit down with him a couple of times and he still doesn't wash the dishes. Then you're just like, that's still like, it can be big and it can be small. So that's my point for point 10. Um, so how many times is good for you? So for me, it could be 3 times, and it's kind of literally strike three and then you're gone. Or it could be, multiple times, kind of like sit with yourself. And this is like something that you should reflect on personally, like alone, not with your partner. And then say to your partner, like, hey, I'm just gonna tolerate this like 2 times, and then we're done, because I'm not gonna tolerate it again. Okay, so that's also very, very important. It could be, like I said, could be specific situations that happened a couple of times, or it could be big situations that happen a couple of times too. Okay. Um, so this all depends on the error. Like I said, big or small. It depends. Like, washing the dishes could be literally very big for you, or cheating could be very small for you. It all depends on you and your relationship with your partner. So I'm not gonna judge here. I'm just giving you, advice and stuff like that. And if it keeps happening, and communicate this error with your partner and find a solution. Like I said before, everybody makes mistakes, but it gets to a point that you're adults and you should be solving their problems. But it's kind of like if he makes mistakes and then you provide the solution, that's totally fine. That's how you guys work. That's totally fine. But it's kind of like he has to came up with his own solution so he can put it in his brain and stuck with it instead of you being like, oh, you should do that. But if he doesn't want to do it, he will not do it, and having all of that conversation. Um, if this sitting down and having this conversation with your partner helps, you know, super, we are good, we are Gucci, everything is marvelous. Maybe, I feel like you get to a point that you know your partner a lot, that you know it's fluff. And when I mean fluff, it's BS. When you know it's fluff and when you know it's actually, he actually meant it. Okay. And I feel like this is, like I said, long-term relationships here, but it's also very important to understand even, do you think he's gonna be fluffing about that, or do you think he's not gonna be fluffing about that? These types of situations. Um, um, like I said before, it's not you just finding the situation for that person over and over again, and it's very tiring. Honestly, and that happened to me a couple of times too. Me finding the situation over and over again, and he not doing anything about it. And then I'm like, okay, then we sit down, and he's like, okay, you do come up with a solution, and then I also come up with a solution, and then we both combine find a solution together. And I feel like that is the key in a relationship, is finding solutions together and not me telling you what to do or him telling me what to do. Because who likes to be told what to do? Like nobody. Except at work. But do you really like people telling you what to do? I don't think so. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. I don't think so. But anyway. So those are my 10 tips. I'm just going to do a really brief recap because I feel like I've been talking for like half an hour at this point. Uh, so the first one will be always choosing yourself. The second one is this a relationship where I want to be, where I see myself with that person in the long run, where he or she can, where he or she can be in that place that where I want to be as a person? Is that the place that I see myself and he or she can help me get there? And seeing myself there and seeing myself with that person, that's two. Number three is getting stuck in the comfort zone. Honestly, I hate the comfort zone. I've been there a couple of times and I honestly don't like it. So I try to like move and just different things and stuff like that. And like I said, this is more like long-term relationships that you get to the comfort zone, but super important. Three, comfort zone. For the types of time, alone time, partner time, and his time, he or her time. Number five will be not everybody is gonna be perfect and not everybody is gonna check off all your things that you want in a partner, and that's fine, and you have to admit that because we're living in a weird world and not living in a Disney. Thank you. That's number five. Number six is getting to know yourself before a relationship. What do you like, what do you don't like about somebody in general? It doesn't have to be like in the relationship specifically, but in general, like I don't like people that do this. Like I don't like people that do that, and understanding that and getting yourself comfortable with being alone, that's totally fine. That's like part one, but also understanding the part of you're understanding yourself so you can tell the other person your limits and how you work and everything like that. That's point six. Point seven was being comfortable with being alone. I feel like literally six and seven is the same thing. Eight, begging him or her to come back. Don't do that, even though could work, but I'm like 80% probably not gonna work. Um, Number nine is before being officially together, having enough good times and bad times together, and what that number is for you. And number 10, it's gonna be how many times sorry is okay. Oh, that last one is very tough for me, but and that's it. Thank you for staying for the end of this video. I don't even know what time is it, so I don't know how long is this video at this point. But thank you for staying all this time together, and I hope to see you in my next video. And the next video, like I said, is about what to do right after a breakup. So stay tuned, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.